thank you for coming up. I'm going to give both of you a formal introduction because you deserve it. Deon Gilbert, currently a sergeant in the U.S. Army Reserves, and also currently double dipping police agencies with the Cortland Police and the Youngstown Police. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for coming up here. And then to his left, Kenny Griffin, longtime Youngstown North Sider. I know it's Liberty, but that's the North Side. Right. A YSU alum, and currently an officer with the Weathersfield Township Police
Department. Yeah.
Thank you for your service, and thank you for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate it.
So the last time that I saw both of you was at Rios's wedding,
right?
Which was beautiful, was fantastic.
Last August, right?
Yeah, last August, so about a year ago.
It's been a year already, right?
Yeah,
right. It's been a year.
And there was a situation where after the wedding, I'm not going to name the establishment, and I'm not going to name any names, but we had went to a bar downtown, and there was a situation that broke out, and I was within the direct path of someone attacking another person and jumping on that person and just ground and pound right next to me. And I had never... I had been going downtown, when I went to YSU for years, and I was so happy that I came out of those situations unscathed, even though I was vulnerable, maybe drinking too much. Right. But that night I was the DD, and I was so thankful to be the DD because I was this close to violence, to out of control violence. And I was so happy that the police were there. They were trying to figure out the situation. They were trying to, de-escalate the situation. But for me, that story sticks out to me. And that happened one time out of the 1,000 times that I had went to a bar. But for you guys, it could happen any given day when you clock in to go to work. So what is that reality like? Of knowing that it's a possibility to confront real violence at any day.
To me, I mean, it's just the basic, it's like it's just it's a norm now. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but it's a norm now. So we kind of, being in this field, you kind of gotta expect things like that to happen. You know what I mean? You gotta come in the game with. Anything can happen at any given moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like you get the bad, you get the good. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's just all about having that mindset. Just you can't be stagnant. You know what I mean? You can't just expect, I'm just have a good day today. Ain't nothing gonna happen. I can just sit in my car and just chill. Because like I said,
that's ideal.
Right. That's what you want. You want that to happen. I wish I could have a day where I don't got to do nothing. I don't got to deal with people's mess. You know what I mean? But when you get in this field, I mean, you got to expect the unexpected, Yeah. So, I mean, just like you said, just as simple as things as being little fights, you know what I mean? That's something that can be so small to certain people, but it can turn out to be big to somebody else. Because, you can be fighting somebody and somebody end up pulling off a gun and start shooting off a couple rounds and, you can accidentally hit somebody. Bullets don't got a name on it.
Wow.
So.
Expecting the unexpected.
Yeah.
That would freak a lot of people out if that was their job.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like you sign up and say, hey, well, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what you have to do. Right. So how and why was that an appealing job for you?
For me, to be honest with you, I never could see myself wanting to be a cop. Mm-hmm. I'm not even gonna lie to you. As I grew up, I mean, I wanted to be a firefighter, to be honest with you. Until one day we was at Youngstown Christian. I was in 3rd, 4th grade. They bought a fire truck to the school, and I asked the guy, I was like, well, I want to be a firefighter, but I don't just, I just want to drive the trucks. And, he was pretty much, well, like, you can't do that. If you want to be a firefighter, you got to do the whole, you know what I'm saying? You got to fight the fires, go in, do everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that kind of swayed me away from wanting to be a firefighter. But then as I grew up, man, and got more mature and kind of start seeing what was going on in the world. I grew up in the church, so it was always instilled in me, like, if you want to see change, you got to be part of the change. You know what I'm saying? So I see a lot of people like, well, I can change. I can help my community with doing this and not being a cop, which is that's you. You know what I mean? That's not me. You know what I mean? So it's different avenues where you can go. But as for me, it's just I feel like it was a calling. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? I felt like as if this was something I was called to do. Now, obviously, I don't want to. I'm not that crazy where I feel like I just want to be shot at or attacked. Now, Deon, he a little bit more crazier than I am, so he be telling me like, yeah, I just want to. When I tell him I want to get in some stuff today, I mean like I want to get to the get some drugs, whatever off the street, whatever. Deon, on the other hand, I'm trying to get in the shootout today, this and that.
Not a shootout, more so like a foot chase.
Right. So.
Get my joints going.
Yeah.
so with that being said, man, it's just it was just more so a calling to me. Not so like I don't like seeing crazy stuff every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just part of the job. And it's honestly, be honest with you, it's more good than bad that comes with the job. You know what I mean? People just see what they see on TV and just like to run with it, or but it's honestly more good than what has been portrayed, so to speak.
Deon, what's the route for you?
I'm a little opposite of Kenny here. I don't feel this was a calling. For me, like growing up, military family, that's what I wanted to do. I made that decision early on in like 6th, 7th grade, join the military. And so when I did that, I joined the reserves and had a couple jobs here and there, but policing was never really, the big one to do until I came back off of a mobilization when I went to Cuba. And when I came back and I said, well, now I really need to settle down and like find a career. And so one day I literally just woke up out the blue and was just like, I'm going to go down to YSU and apply for the police academy.
Wow.
And so that was a battle in itself, getting accepted to the police academy. But when I finally did it, I was like, okay, great. This is what I want to do. And it's for, the most part, I would say, is for the youth as well, so that they can see that, people of color, you don't have to be the product of your environment.
Yeah.
You can still be in your environment, but you don't have to be the product of it. And to have the little kids look at us, and not be fearful. The media shows us in another, way, but for the kids in the city, like we're not all bad. You know what I mean? So that they can still grow up and want to be police officers and wanting to be, firemen and all that good stuff.
I feel like our generation is so unique because, when we were leaving junior high, getting into high school, we started using social media more. We started seeing more videos and hearing more about police brutality, even though I feel like in the Black community, and I had this conversation with some of my white friends of like, oh, your dad didn't tell you that when you get pulled over, don't move quickly or don't move your hands too fast. Like, for me growing up, the potential of actually being someone who the police use lethal force on, has always been a reality for me. So the Black community always knew that. Wow. But then other communities started getting exposed to it with more and more video, right? And I feel like we were at the beginning of that when we were deciding what do we want to do with our careers. So when you're talking, 2015, 2016, when you guys, this is the career I'm going to go in. Did the cultural stigma of, wow, sometimes the police can be brutal, did that enter your equation when you were thinking about becoming a police officer?
Well, I mean, you pretty much hit it head on. I mean, honestly, like obviously, you know, we can't change the color of our skin. You know what I mean? We can't change, you know, how we was brought up or how we were raised. You know what I'm saying? What background we come from. So, with that being said, I mean, that's obviously something we've seen all the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just like you said, from where you grew up, or because honestly, let's be honest. I mean, you can live in Canfield, but that's not stuff you see every day. You don't see police coming to your door down the street. You know what I'm saying? You don't see that every day. You know what I mean? But I could be wrong. I'm not from Canfield. I haven't lived in Canfield, but I'm just saying. Rather, you know, I got family we're from Youngstown. You know what I'm saying? So we grew up on the north side. I have family on the east side, you know what I mean? Growing up in that neighborhood or wherever, you know, it becomes kind of like the norm. So you kind of get used to stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So you in your experience and you're exposed to different things, you know what I mean? So from me being on the north side, I can probably see the cop mistreating or talking to my aunt or cousins all crazy, you know what I mean? So whether from somebody from Canfield, they might not experience that all the time because, you know, people... You know, it just doesn't happen all the time like that. You know what I mean? So I feel as if it's pretty much what you kind of get exposed to, though. You know what I mean? Like I said, with the social media type stuff, obviously, you know, people are going to see that because it seems like they putting more negative stuff in social media than actually the positive stuff.
And I would add to that, I've always felt there should be more people of color, you know, policing urban neighborhoods.
Where you from, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know, we still live in that neighborhood, whereas, you know, Joe Schmo over here, he goes back elsewhere. You know what I mean? He's not there, but he's been policing this area for, you know, 15, 20 years, but you're not in the community, basically. Like, you don't know that, you know, when we argue with someone, you know, in each other's faces, using him, you know what I mean? And to other people, that's signs of aggression. But to us, we're just talking. Right. You know what I'm saying?
It's so foreign to them.
Right. It's foreign. So they're so quick to be like, okay, well, he's really aggressive, you know, I might have to go hands-on versus like, hey, no, you know, he's upset. I get it. He's walking up to me, but he's not walking up to me to try to fight me in an aggressive way. That's just how he is. That's just how she is. You know, any arguments I get into with people, it's always like that. And I always get asked, you know, why, you know, don't let them get so close to you because you don't know what you're going to do. Well, but I do. You know what I mean? Because, well, I know when I'm pissed, you know, I'm loud, I'm finger pointing, you know what I mean? I'm doing it, but that's not aggression. I'm not going to look at that as aggression. Aggression is, you know, bladed stance, fist balled, you know, trying to fight you. You know what I mean? So I just feel like I've always said that we need more people of color policing urban neighborhoods.
So when you have that stigma of, you know, the police are against us, not for us, right? And to me, I don't think that can literally be true because there's so many situations where cops are engaging with people that if that were the case, our TVs would be just loaded with the bad, right?
And it's like what he said. It's a miracle. It's like, you know, you're gonna, not all, you know, police officers are gonna be that way. You know what I mean? And it's just, you need to just, I'm trying to figure out the good word to say it.
I feel like a lot of people, like you said, I mean, it's some bad stigmas about, you know, especially what the media's portraying, you know what I mean? So, but at the same time, you know, I can't, I'm not, you know, you have your job and you do what you do, right? So I can't necessarily tell you how to do your job. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I don't really know what you do. You know, I know what you can tell, you know, you tell me what you do, you know what I mean? But I'm not sitting at your desk. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like how people, you know, they see what they see on TV and then just get this mindset, well, oh yeah, these cats, they they do this. You know, I seen this cop do this. So now I just judging all you guys. So pretty much it's like, what I mean by that, it's like people try to tell you how you should do things, but they don't really understand actually what you're doing.
Right.
You know, so.
And they always say, you know, well, I watch TV.
Right. Yeah.
I watch Criminal Minds.
Right.
I watch Cops.
Right.
You know what I mean? Live
right.
PD.
You're not out here every day. Like we were talking earlier, like police officers, they really have a lot of different roles. You know what I mean? One minute you can be, you know, a counselor. One minute you can be, you know, you having conversations with somebody's kid, trying to tell them, you know, that why, you know, just little stuff. You can, and then you can go the next day. You can go save somebody's life, pretty much. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm sometimes even a marriage counselor. You know what I mean? Wow. From husband and wife arguing back and forth. You know, well, okay, well let's it's different avenues
you're a better
to solve different.
Because I don't do that.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. I mean, but a lot of times, sometimes you won't get that from every cop. You know what I mean? But if in reality, you know, some people come to you, you know, and be like, well, hey, I need help with this. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have the answer, or if I feel like I can't help you, I'm gonna try to get that, you know, information for you.
Right.
You know, but. That's even like the other day, the lady came to me, she, you know, she had some drug problems, you know what I mean? She just said, hey, you know, obviously I dealt with her a couple times. She was like, hey, you know, I just want to, you know, enlist to one of these rehabs, you know, can you help me? You know, I'm just like, well, yeah, you know, I don't have the information on me right now, but I'll come check you out tomorrow. I'll gather some information for you and I'll give it to you. Now, whether you use that information that I gave you, you know what I mean? That's totally up to you. But at the end of the day, I'm helping you. I'm doing my part. You know what I mean? You ask me for help. If you don't have the means to find that information, you don't have internet, you don't have a phone. Okay, I can print you these papers out. You know what I'm saying? Now you do what you want with it. You know what I mean? So it's just pretty much little stuff like that. But like I said, at the end of the day, people just try to tell you how to do your job and what you need to do. But like I said, I'm not telling you how to be a teacher. Yeah. I'm not telling you, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
how to do your interviews, pretty much.
So
you know?
for me, I remember my first job out of college. I wanted to prove myself so much that I just started throwing all these crazy ideas out. I think I told my boss that that one of the campaigns we should do is we should have our CEO jump off of our building and skydive down. Yeah. Right, like just crazy ideas. Yeah. And some of the, I mean, obviously that idea wasn't feasible, but some of the ones that potentially, you know, we could do, she would always tell me maybe 2 years from now, maybe. And then, you know, a year later, I realized that there was stuff that I didn't know about the company, that even though I thought these were good ideas, I didn't have the context to understand the inner workings of the actual company I was with, that made it more difficult than what it seemed on the outside. Yeah. On the outside, it seems so easy. Yeah. Then you get in the inside and you see things that you can't see on the outside. And it changes everything. Context is so important.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I mean, you hit it right on the head, because on the outside, like you said, it looks so easy. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? You like, that's what we try to tell people. If you really don't want to understand like how law enforcement is worked, they have programs out there where you can come on a ride along, you know what I mean? So you can kind of experience, you know what I mean, what it is that a cop is actually having to deal with and do. Right. You know what I mean? So now, and also when I say that, because, you know, you get these different departments who try to, you know what I mean, they try to have somebody ride along with somebody who ain't active, pretty much, who a cop who don't really want to do much. So if you get with a cop who ain't, you're not really going to experience much. You know what I'm saying? You need to try to be with somebody who's proactive, you know what I'm saying, who's still answering calls, you know what I mean, and going about the daily routines of being a proactive cop. Because if you just come on a ride along with somebody who just want to sit there, you're not experiencing nothing but besides radio traffic, pretty much. You know what I mean? And just watching cars go back and forth. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. Like that's one of the ways where you can kind of get people involved. I know my church, they were actually talking about I forget what department it was. They put on like a civilian, I think it was actually Youngstown YPD. They put on like a civilian like course for like, so basically the civilians can actually see what police officers do. Wow. You know what I mean? But and this one guy, he was actually saying, you know, you probably got a handful of people who attend it. You know,
that's crazy. So
right there and there, you know, that kind of tells you, you know, you're trying to put on these different things, you know what I mean, to try to get the public, in the community involved, but then you got a handful of people, and they're all older attending these. You know what I mean? So it's kind of about getting the youth and younger people involved as well, too. As far as doing these ride-alongs or just having more positive communications with police officers. You know what I mean?
I'm going to make this really awkward right now. Will the one or both of you be open to taking me on a ride-along?
Yeah.
If we can. He has more of the experience, right?
Kenny, we'll do it. We'll set it up.
He's been an officer for 5 years. I'm still in my probationary period with YPD.
Cool.
Deon, he can tell you. He rode with me.
Yeah, I rode with Kenny for about 3 weeks.
I'm going to do it. How many? Is it one person at a time?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like in a car?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to try to get some other people on board.
Yeah.
Just all in the backseat of the cruiser.
Okay, no, yeah. So we'll set it up.
Yeah,
but that would be extremely helpful.
Yeah.
One of what you talked about, how it would really be helpful to get the youth involved and get the youth exposed to it. Kenny, you talked about earlier how just like exposing people to what it means to be a police officer is so important, and that you want to be the change that you want to see happen, right? And then Deon talked about how important it is to have people of color in law enforcement, so that way future generations have something to point towards and look towards. So talk to me. It's so interesting to. Instead of looking at the police as being against us, you guys saw it as an opportunity. Like, here's an opportunity for us to step up and to take responsibility. Am I putting words in your mouth, or is that the way you saw it?
So that's exactly how I seen it. Like I said, I obviously growing up, we see this stuff all the time. You know what I mean? So like I said, I took it upon myself to instead of talking about it, let me go ahead and try to change the mindsets of people by seeing me. You know what I mean? So I get where I work at. It's not like Youngstown. You know what I mean? Youngstown is different.
How dare you?
You know what I mean? But like I said, I feel like, me personally, I feel like things happen for a reason. So where I'm at, I feel it was all for a reason, because there's it's majority whites. You know what I mean? So when I come across like a little, a minority kid, and they see me, they're like, oh, you know what I mean? The look on their face, for one, just tells it all. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, it's very beneficial, because they know, like, okay, well, this guy, he's out here with me, playing catch with me. He's giving me things. He's I can talk to him. It's cool. You know what I mean? I do things as far as, like, I'll let the kids sit in my car, play with the lights, whatever. But those are all things that I'm not trying to get recognition off of stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if you're just trying to get recognition off of it,
it's not pure.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's not genuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've always been a person who, I love kids. I love being around kids. You know what I mean? So I try to make it my duty to kind of be an inspiration to them. You know what I mean?
Buy a box of popsicles for a group of kids?
I did. In the summertime,
keep an eye on him.
In the summertime, I'll buy popsicles, man. I'll buy candy. Pop, whatever, footballs, basketballs. Like, I just bring it over there, man, to them, because a lot of people, they don't, they're not fortunate enough to have stuff that, like, we grew up with.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just try to. I'm in the game for a blessing business, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? I feel as if I've been blessed, so I can bless other people. While for one, them seeing me in a uniform, and for two, they knowing that they don't have to be scared of me. You know what I mean? So this is stuff that I haven't really experienced when I was younger, because I feel as if I didn't really see too many cops coming up to.
I don't think I ever had a.
That's what I mean. I don't remember really
one. I had one, and that's it. That's a story in itself.
I don't remember no cops really coming up to me, playing basketball, playing football, giving me stuff, unless it was at school for the dare things.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
DARE program.
But that's why I said, man, and to me, it just starts with the younger generation, man, because if you can build positive vibes and those communications with these younger kids, and obviously it's gonna carry on to when they get older. You know what I mean? So now when they, like I said earlier, 10 years from now, that's Officer Griffin, that's Officer Deon, you know what I mean? I can talk to them. Oh, man, they cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, we still gonna do our job if you mess up, you know what I mean? But they know they can still trust us, like they ain't gonna be on no bull crap.
There's a repertoire.
Right. Exactly. So, like I said, to me, it's just starting with the younger generation, man, and that's kind of where you gotta start with is the younger generation. You know what I mean? The younger kids, the younger youth, and just being involved in their life. You know, so.
Yeah, I'll sit and have a quick chat with, the group of kids playing basketball or something there in the street. All the kids playing on their bikes, riding around. They'll sit there, wave at me. I'll sit there and talk to them for a quick second, but then I just go about my way. I'm not involved like Kenny here, but it's still the principle that when you make those interaction with the kids, they know that, hey, when I see you again, I can come talk to you.
Right. I mean, I would literally get times where I'm just pulling up in the neighborhood and, the kids are just, officer, running up to the car. I mean, to me, that's stuff that, it makes you feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I might have dealt with your parents earlier in the day or the day before, you know what I mean? And they probably might have put some stuff in your head like, oh, yeah, he just gave me a ticket or he just arrested your dad the other day. But the kids know like, oh, well, he plays with her, he kicks it with us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're not getting a negative, they're not getting a negative view on you, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because as when you're young, you just arrested my dad the other day. Obviously, they think you the bad guy. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why, like I said, that's kind of why you gotta be involved with the younger, generation in my eyes. You know what I mean? So, like I said, everybody else has their own opinions on things, but I mean, you can still, not saying that you can't have the same communications or same conversations with somebody in their 30s, because you can, but at that point they already grown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So you gonna do what you want to do at that point. You know what I mean? So but you still, not saying that you still can't. I get people who's in their 30s. Oh yeah, man. I was thinking about being a cop, man. What you want to do? How did you do it? I'm still thinking about it. I'm like, I'll talk to them. I'll tell them what I did, the experiences that I had, which you're obviously gonna go through. So like I said, it's just being you just got to be a positive impact on wherever you go. You know what I mean? Even when I take off the uniform, they'll see me. They be, I'm the same with this uniform. When I got it on, I'm the same when it's off. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
it's powerful. One of the things that you said was Weathersfield is different than Youngstown.
Right.
How so?
So what I mean by that is obviously, like I said, it's I work in a township. Whether he's in a city, so obviously the call volumes are going to be a lot higher. From a township. From a city to a township. Mm-hmm. And Weathersfield, it's where I work at. It's not high in crime rate, I should say. You know what I mean? As far as where Deon works, you know what I mean? Now, with that being said,
crimes in Youngstown.
Now, with that being said, where we work at, it's kind of, they're always busy. We get to make ourselves busy. You know what I mean? So whether he's going from call to call, so they can't probably not really get as involved into traffic as somebody as far as me working in the township. You know what I mean? So with that being said, what I mean by that is, since I'm dealing with calls, but I'm not going from call to call like him. So, okay, I'll go to a call, do the report. Now I got a couple hours, whatever I want to do. I can get into some traffic, basically. You know what I mean? As far as traffic stops, whatever, getting whatever, warrants, drugs, whatever, So what I mean by it's not like Youngstown. Youngstown, we're from Youngstown. You know how Youngstown gets. You know what I mean? You know how growing up in Youngstown is. Warren, whatever. You know what I mean? But as far as the township,
but it's honestly not that bad though. It's not like when people hear Youngstown, they're like, oh, there must be shooting every day. You know what I mean? Or like someone must have gotten killed today. Yeah. And it's not. It's honestly not that bad. Like there's shooting, but. Mm-hmm. They're not. Half the time, it's just people shooting it in the air.
And this is what we're saying. He's saying that, and I agree with him because we're from there. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's bad, but as far as somebody who's not from there, they're obviously going to think that
Yeah.
because, you know what I mean? Because, I heard this on the news.
Right.
I heard, you know what I mean? So that kind of goes back to what you said is, you know, it's depending on where you're from and how you experience things. I mean, that plays a role in a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So like you said earlier, I mean, we're from Youngstown. Youngstown is one of the, you know, it taught you how to be tough. You know what I mean? It taught you many things, you know?
Yep.
As far as some of these other cities or townships or whatever, I mean, they didn't really get to experience the rough-nosed kids, so to speak. You know,
We're not easily offended.
To make you grow up and be tough. You know what I mean? So that's what it boils down to, you know, with that. But
what being an outsider outside of the law enforcement community, what am I not seeing? What context am I missing?
Honestly, it's the media. If you don't watch the media, then you know, I mean, you won't see that.
Right. You will only have the experiences that you experience one-on-one with the cop. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Like, you can't judge what's going on at a police department in another state than what you're seeing here, because like you don't have you wouldn't have any experiences here, or if you had, they're like, oh well, this officer is really nice and respectful to me, so you know what I mean. But over here in this state,
I seen this,
and this is what the media is blasting over, you know, the news right now, and this is what social media is blasting out. But you know, here, this is what I'm experiencing.
So each police force is different. They have their own unique whatever it is about them that you can't lump them in with someone across the country.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. I would just say it's not all the times the police department. It's just the people within the police department. You know what I mean? So it's just you have your individuals who make it look bad for everyone, so to speak. You know what I mean? But like I said, that kind of goes back to like it's bad apples within everything you do. I mean, we all get that.
I can't you know, judge you off of, you know, the fact that we arrested, you know, your dad 16 times last year, or over the course of, you know, 4 years. Like, I can't be like, oh well, your dad's a, you know, piece of shit. Can I cuss? I'm sorry. Your dad's a piece of shit, so you're going to be one.
Right. Yeah.
So and
I was having a conversation with somebody before. That's like us growing up, you know, in school. Like, if you had a bad teacher, I'm not just going to say just because, you know, you can't say, oh well, this teacher was terrible, so every other teacher in the world is terrible. You know what I mean? That's kind of like, I mean, to me, in my experience, that's like saying the same thing. So just because, you see this on the internet or whatever, this cop did something crazy as far as like the last incident, the dude had his knee on his neck. I mean, anybody you'll talk to police-wise, they nine times out of 10, they don't agree with it.
And if you are that one that does agree, you don't need to
that shows that you shouldn't be a cop. You know what I mean? It's just incidents like that, but people see it so much, and us as being black, you know what I mean? People are tired of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as far as the protests and stuff like that, I mean, it's not that I don't agree with it. I agree with it because, you know, that's one of the amendments. You know what I mean? Everybody has a right, freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? Freedom to
protest.
Peacefully protest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously, with the looting and everything, people don't agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people have a right to say how they feel, and I feel as if that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? And it may not change overnight, but it's a start. You know what I mean? So at least they know, the city knows, the police chief, captain, they know that people are serious. You know, they tired of it. You know what I mean? And to me, I feel as if every time something like that happens, it's gonna be protests like that. You know what I mean? So and for cops who don't like that, or feel scared and threatened by it, I mean, that kind of puts a fear in them, kind of, well, all right, I got to really be careful on what I do, you know what I mean, or how I do it, because I don't want this to happen again, you know what I mean, kind of stuff like that. But it's just, like I said, it just goes back to the individuals who are within the department, man. It's you definitely got bad people within the game, you know what I mean? So
you really don't know people's real intentions when they have on the uniform.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Like, I don't know that, you know, this person is solely out to get, you know, certain people.
Yeah.
But this is my partner. You know what I mean?
And it's hard to bring that in court.
Yeah.
We can't say, you broke the law for not liking brown people.
Right.
Right? It's hard to do that.
Right.
But it seems like with this scenario, it seems like there was multiple layers of it, right? Obviously, this is such a cliched term, but I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of the. I feel as if, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel as if in general, the black community, when dealing with a police officer, doesn't get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm tired of it. Yeah. Right. And so for me, when you talk about, engaging with the people that you serve and protect, you build that rapport where you have a relationship with people in that neighborhood.
Right.
And you could take a step back and say, well, let's see, they might not have a weapon. They might have a weapon, but we're not going to just assume that they have a weapon. Right. We're not going to assume that they have marijuana in their
every call that I go on, at least almost every call, it's always someone's arguing with someone or someone's fighting with someone, but they have some type of weapon, and then you get there and you can clearly see that this person doesn't have one. Right. You know what I mean? But it's unfortunate that when that call comes in, we still have to treat it as if the person has a weapon. Wow. You know what I mean? So
and that puts you in a different state.
Right. Whether it be guns drawn or, quickly, detain the person, have them in cuffs and to, do a pat down on them, make sure they don't have anything, and then backtrack from there. Right. And I say that, and I don't like it. I don't like saying that we have to backtrack because that already puts the negative image on us, because these two people were just fighting, but now we have guns drawn on them. Right. You know what I mean? And what I like to what I like to do is I explain to everybody right off rip. This is why I'm here. This is the type of call, and this is why it had to be done this way. You know what I mean? And I apologize. We had to backtrack. Yeah. But you have to understand the nature of the call that was put in. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's just like in another unfortunate situation, you fitting the description. But the description is vague. Right. It's generic. Person wearing black pants, black shoes, black shirt. White shirt, black pants, white shirt. You know what I mean? And you're riding down the street. You're on the street, and you see that only person.
3, 4 people with black, you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Or it's just the one person, but this person has nothing to do with the call that came in. But it's like I said, it's unfortunate because of how it was put out.
And that's why a lot of people, if I'm at work and I'll be on the phone with somebody, they'll be like, well, why did they say black male? Why he gotta have braids, or why, you know what I mean? But to me,
you need that description.
You need that. You need those type of descriptions. You know what I mean? Because just like Deon said, white shirt, white pants, black shoes. I just passed 3, 4 different people. You know what I mean? Who got wearing the same thing. So like you said, when it comes to being descriptive, and people don't like when people throw the race out there when it comes to stuff like that. But in reality, you have to.
Right.
Wow.
So you gotta. He had dreads, long dreads, black male, about 6'3", he weighed about 200 pounds, wearing a blue shirt.
So be as descriptive.
So that we know exactly who we're looking for and not just a sea of people.
But people take that as being racist when you throw that race out there. But in reality, it's really not, because you have to be descriptive. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it being racist. I'm not saying white male, blue jeans, blue. No, I'm saying that because if some stuff go down, you know what I mean, and he do take off running or whatever, or something happened to me, they got to be able to identify the dude. Right. You know what I'm saying? You see a dude running, well, he don't match the description, so you ain't gonna mess with that person because
Yeah.
That ain't the description I just gave to you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I can't tell you how many times I've been on a call where it was put out as a certain description and I'm talking to the person.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, this person had nothing to do with this.
Right.
like
Wow.
you know, he or she is literally just here.
right. Now if you can change your clothes in a matter of seconds, then,
Right.
I mean, well then, hey, that's on me then. I got the wrong guy then. Well, hey. But yeah. So yeah.
So coming out of the George Floyd situation, how are you feeling about the response, not only nationally but globally? What's going through your mind with what we're watching take place right now?
I feel it's unfortunate it's taken, you know, that incident for people to wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It you know,
Like this-
even though that this has been happening,
Yeah.
you know,
For
over the
years.
years, but like I feel like with that incident, it was like the final straw.
Mm-hmm.
And then like more people is starting to realize that's messed up.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, God forbid, but you know, let's be honest. I mean, that obviously wasn't the first, and it won't be the last. You know what I mean? Until things start to change. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So as hard as that may
That just comes
sound,
with bad policing.
you know what I mean? Yeah, as hard as that may sound, I mean that's the truth. I mean, how many more killings have we seen since that one? You know what I mean? Like it's been a lot.
Couple, yeah.
You know what I mean? So now all of them, some of them, you know what I mean, from the outside looking in, I mean, obviously the community is going to think it's, you know, it was messed up, but for being cops, some of them are actually
Justified.
you know what I mean?
Justifiable.
It's hard to say because at the end of the day, you don't want to see nobody die.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? But sometimes.
And I've gotten to that
Yeah.
argument, you know, with my family, of course.
Right.
You know,
But the Floyd, that definitely wasn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's definitely not right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're not trained like that. You know what I mean? I'm sure, I don't know, I haven't looked
yeah,
into
no,
it, but I know their policy
use
doesn't
of force
say
policy
right, to
says have your knee on someone's
right,
neck.
to impede somebody's breathing. Like
Right.
that don't make no sense. You know what I mean? Cat already handcuffed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's that, and that's one of the things that gives officers like the good guys a bad name. You know what I mean? Because they see something like that, and you know this is stuff that they showing their kids too. Well, this is why we don't like police officers. This man died. You know, but in reality, you know, all cops aren't like that though. You know, so it definitely sucks, man. Because seeing something like that, man, it hurt me. I mean, it hurts. You know what I mean? Especially being black. That could have been, if I had kids, that could have been my kid. That could have been me.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without the uniform, like I said, I'm black with the uniform on, with it off. I'm still the same person. You know? So if you ain't know me, that could have been me.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
So
Now, I couldn't agree with you more that it's sad that it's
Yeah.
taken this to get to this point
Right.
where we want to see change happen. But I believe it was either the weekend before or the weekend after George Floyd was murdered that the south side of Chicago, predominantly African American community, there were 40 gunshots.
Yeah.
And 19 people died, I believe.
Yeah.
And people out online keep me honest about that. But what do you have to say about that? I mean, do we have Black Lives Matter showing up and saying this isn't right when we're killing each other?
To me, I mean, I'm all for the Black Lives Matter thing, to be honest with you, because I believe it's obviously a movement, and it's not them saying that, you know, nobody else's life doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I feel like obviously they're saying it because they're just trying to basically, even though it's in the limelight now, it's not in the limelight. It's not how it should be. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's hundreds of thousands of people who black men who've been killed by police. You know what I mean? For reasons that they shouldn't have died from. You know what I mean? So to speak. So the Black Lives Matter thing, I mean, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like I said.
Well, I
mean,
meant more specifically, why aren't they showing up to the south side of Chicago
Or for the black on black.
and saying stop killing
Right.
each other?
Honestly, that's a good question. Like I said, I kind of believe that all starts with
with the community.
within the community and also within the household, man. Because I don't know, man. With all the violence, it's just pointless and useless violence against people. You know what I mean? Yeah, people say, "Oh, well, black people kill black people all the time."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that could be true. I mean, I don't know the statistics in that, but I mean, it could be true. But I mean,
black on black violence, it's not a thing.
You're gonna have crime wherever you go.
It's just a crime. At that point, it's just a crime.
That's what it is. It's a crime.
It's a crime.
And they're not getting paid to serve and protect people.
Right.
Right. So as a police officer, you're held to this position where you have to be accountable to serve and protect us.
Right.
And when you kill people unlawfully,
you should have some type of...
It's a violation.
Right. And I also think when it comes to that, like I said, a lot of things come back to how trained were you? How what type of experience have you been in the past? But it really boils down to your training.
You fall back on the training that you know.
And a lot of times, a lot of these people, they police the communities where they're not from. You know what I mean? So that's just like me. You know, I'm not from where I work at. You know what I mean? But that's like a lot of people in the city. They haven't really been around black people, so to speak, and they don't really understand how it is to be black. Yeah. How it is to grow up in the hood. You know. So
that just falls back on what I said.
So what he said earlier, they don't really know how to respond and react to certain things. You know what I mean? And to me, that's the honest to God truth. You know. So sometimes when they might get into a fight, they automatically feeling threatened. You know what I mean? So just the dude might not have a gun on him, but he giving it to you. So now you feel
like now I have to use my gun or my taser because
and this is what I'm. And this is not to cut you off, but this is what I'm saying too, as far as within the system. I mean, sometimes that can be considered justifiable. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. Because technically in law enforcement, we're obviously taught to one up a person. You know what I mean? So basically, like, okay, if he couldn't get his taser off, he basically getting the shit beat out of him. So this is the only thing he can, you know what I'm saying? He don't know where his backup is at. He can't get the dude off of him, So his last resort is to grab his gun. But that's what I mean as far as it comes down to training, So if you're more experienced and you kind of know how to
tussle,
fight, you know what I mean? You've been in multiple experiences like this where you're not shaking in your boots, it feels as if you got to shoot somebody. Yeah. It definitely falls down to training too.
Is there more training needed?
Oh yeah, definitely. And you can never train.
There's never too much. Of it.
I would love to get into some, more hand to hand, like train martial arts, some type of martial arts. A lot of officers do. Yeah,
and, you do shooting qualifications, taser qualifications all day long.
Why not? Why not combatives?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's definitely something I definitely agree with. Like there definitely needs to be more skills in how to hold your own without having to use deadly force.
Now let's talk about the step before that, before even combatives.
Communicating.
It's what's called verbal judo.
Disescalating
the situation.
Right. De-escalating.
Is it de-escalating? De-escalating.
De-escalating. I know.
De-escalating the situation. Have you found yourself in situations where you had to do that? Verbally?
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, like I said, that's pretty much comes from where we're
your
from.
First thing, is to...
If you don't know how to talk to people, this line of work ain't for you, pretty much.
I don't like people, but, I will be the first to admit I really don't. But, like, it doesn't take much effort to de-escalate, a fight just by talking to somebody. It doesn't take much. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, both parties just want their side of the stories told. Wow. Okay, well, you step over this way and talk to my partner. I'm going to talk to you. I want to get your side of the story. Then I'm going to get her side of the story or his side of the story. Yeah. And then flop that way. Okay, so now that everybody's calm, how can we resolve this issue?
Right. And
that's where the whole separation comes from. Yeah. Okay, well, we can ask somebody to leave for the night for a couple hours, hell, for 30 minutes, but we can't leave you two alone. Yeah. Because God forbid we leave and then you start something happen again. You know, so that's the first thing that you do. Before you touch anything on your belt, before you go hands on,
use your words.
You got to use your words.
See, and to me, I definitely agree with Deon. I mean, as far as I'm a people person, you know what I mean. I know how to talk to people. Obviously, it's a respect thing too. You know, you show me respect, I'm gonna obviously show you respect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, like in the field that we're in, I mean, you definitely have to still be professional. So even if somebody's not showing you respect, you know, as many times as you might want to go, you know, all right, well, man, who you talking to? Like, you know, you still got to be professional.
That's
you know, it happens though. Don't get me wrong, it definitely happens because you're not gonna let nobody talk to you like you crazy, you know. But it definitely, like he said, it's a communicating thing. If you can't use your words, like they got books on how to talk to people. I feel as if, I mean, if that's not already a given skill, then what are you doing? Why I need to read a book to learn how to communicate with people?
That's almost like the CIT training.
Yeah,
like why do I need?
What does CIT stand for?
It's critical incident.
It's like crisis
intervention maybe.
Training.
It basically how to how to deal with, how to talk to people with
disabilities,
mental illnesses,
disabilities.
You know, when they're having their episodes. You know, because there are instances where.
Like stuff like that I can understand, like as far as the trainings, because obviously sometimes with people with mental issues and different type of health issues and mental disabilities, a lot of times that's what they have, you know, what do they call what do they call social workers?
Those people,
mental health advisors.
Yeah,
my sister does it, but anyway, they go to school for stuff like that, so they're obviously trained. They know how to. He's feeling like this. He's acting like this. I know exactly what to say to him or what to do to get him to click and come to us. You know.
But at the end of the day, you're still talking.
But still,
to the person.
right. So it's instances like that. I mean, I can understand like the CIT trainings and stuff like that. But if you just want to sit here, if I can't have a regular conversation with an individual, you know, then there's no point. And a lot of people and a lot of cops are like that. They don't really know how to talk to people. Yeah. They can't have just a one-on-one conversation with you, you know. So and they can't just walk in the hood or the projects and have a conversation with you, you know. That to me, that's not something that they would do. But that's what I feel is if we need more of that. You know what I mean? We need more of that one-on-one communications and connections with people. So
what's the way to build that?
Build communication?
What he said of this ability to connect people.
It's just about, to me, it's about getting people who's into the job for the right reasons, you know, and not being lazy. You know, it's about being able to get out your car, walking up to somebody and having a conversation with them, pretty much. You know what I mean? It's not about.
And this is a call for the police officers.
Right,
to do this.
Right. You know what I mean? And to me, that's how I feel, as if the community would actually feel more comfortable. You know what I mean? You see in my face a lot more than just on negative experience or you know, whatever the situation may be. But you see in my face a lot more, and we're just having regular conversations. That's a start.
How do black communities, black neighborhoods in particular, how do they think about the police?
I think that's for them to answer that, really.
I mean, I feel as if it's a negative. They see them as, you know, something that they don't want to deal with them. You know what I mean? Because like I said, they feel as if they didn't probably had so many negative encounters with the police. That's why it's so hard to get African American people to want to become the police. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I've also talked with people who've never had any type of negative experience with a police officer before, that just flat out hate the police.
Right.
No matter who you are. Yeah. They've never had any type of, they may have been pulled over one time, you know what I mean, in their life. But, you know, I would ask them, you know, why do you know, hate officers so much? Have you ever had an encounter with them? I asked one kid this, I was like, have you ever had any type of, you know, experience with the police? No. Have you been arrested? No. You know what I mean? So it's like, so why do you hate us? Right. Well, because the way you treat other people. The way that I treat other people. Have you seen me treat other people, you know, incorrectly? Like this is your first time seeing me. Yeah. Oh, well, it's not you, it's the other officers. You know what I mean? So it's like you've never had a bad experience, but yet you hate me and you're cussing me out.
Yeah. It
They
sounds.
they think all cops are the same, pretty much. You know.
Wow.
So
Yeah, and that's stereotyping. Stereotyping police officers. What are your thoughts? I think you kind of alluded to this when you were talking about Black Lives Matter. What do you think when you hear all lives matter?
I agree. I mean, we all agree. You know, everybody's lives matter. You know what I mean? But that's not what they mean by saying your life doesn't matter.
I think all lives matter is just a ploy for
deter from the Black Lives Matter.
Right.
You know?
It's nothing more than white people, in a sense, feeling left out. That's what I think about it. Because when someone screams, you know, Black Lives Matter, that just means, you know, my life is equal to yours. My punishment should be your punishment. You shouldn't get, you know, 6 months probation and I get 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, when they scream all lives matter, yeah, all lives matter. But if that were
not
true, if that statement were true, then why aren't you upset about Black Lives Matter?
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, because that falls underneath that umbrella.
Yeah. So that's it. To me, it's even like, you know, you get these signs and, you know, people say, like being a cop, blue lives matter. You know, yeah, I mean, I'm a cop, you know, but at the same time, I'm still black.
And
you know,
blue lives matter. That's not a thing.
Yeah, like
so that works for all of you. You fall underneath all that. All lives matter. Black lives matter. Blue.
You know, people try to just.
I don't like the blue lives matter.
Yeah, we're not saying that. Your life doesn't matter. Right. You know what I mean? That's like Black Lives Matter. They're just drawing attention on why is it so many of us dying? You know, and nothing's being done, so to speak, you know? Yeah. So it's just it's just them having a voice, you know?
Yeah. I really appreciate the momentum that I'm seeing. It feels different than other scenarios where we've seen this. Mm-hmm. I feel like this movement has momentum and it continues. Black Lives Matter. I appreciate the changes that are being had, but is there a world or is there a scenario where Black Lives Matter can go too far?
Like as far as what do you mean? As far as like
Well, I think that Black Lives Matter, I mean, even in that movement, they bundle things underneath that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can say, yeah, Black Lives Matter. You know, I could go to a protest and say that. Yeah. But the person next to me is saying the same thing. And then they also say defund the police.
Right.
And like, even with that term, I always say, okay, well, what do you mean by defund? Do you mean that, you know, give them less resources? Do you mean make them less militarized? Do you mean get rid of the department in its entirety?
Did you see the video on an officer made? He said, I have to do a detail for a defund the police protest because they asked for police presence for the defund the police protest.
That's hilarious. Right. So, and like, obviously, you talk about training, right? And this people will probably be offended if I said this. When it comes to more training, you guys need more resources.
Right.
You need more funding, right? But nonetheless, that's what I mean by that. That's just one example, right? But is there a scenario where Black Lives Matter goes too far?
I think I wouldn't really say it goes too far, but you don't have everybody in it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So with that being said, you can have a protest and you're getting people from different cities. What are they called? Tyrants, whatever they call. But you get people from different cities coming in who not even from here, who just want to start up a commotion, who just want to start throwing stuff, trying to break stuff. You know what I mean? So that with kind of answering your questions, I mean, I don't think it really goes too far, But as far as, you know, when you start doing the looting and trying to burn down things, and
that's crime. You're committing a crime,
and you're putting it under the Black Lives Movement. Then, like I said, it's just you don't have the people in it for the right reasons. You know, so what is stealing from a black guy owns this store? Why you stealing from him? You screaming Black Lives Matter? You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by people aren't really in it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? So you can have thousands of people downtown, but probably a handful of people are doing it just, you know, for the right reasons. You know, I'm not even gonna say a handful, but you have a lot of people in it for the right reasons.
They
still
hear
have a couple
protests and then they envision riot.
Right.
And they think protest and riot
are the same thing.
When it's not. How are you being heard by starting fires?
When the people are rioting and they're getting tear gas and, you know, rubber bullets, and they're like, "Oh, well, how could the police do that to a peaceful protest? That's not peaceful."
So Black Lives Matter goes too far when they start breaking the law. We're not they.
Right. The people right.
Claiming
that they're under the black.
Right.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
It's an awkward time for a lot of people, a lot of uncomfortable conversations. For our white allies. Have you heard that term being thrown around?
White allies.
What words of wisdom can we give white people that turn red when you bring up this conversation? You could just see the awkwardness, you know, it feels like they're walking on thin ice. What words of wisdom?
Me personally, I would just say just be open-minded, just to listen. You know what I mean? Just listen to what people have to say, pretty much. You know what I mean? You may not be the one who's actually, you know, the racist one. I mean, let's be real. It's racism wherever you go on both sides. Anything. You know what I mean? But like I said, it's just about being open to listening, you know, and hearing what the people literally have to say. You know what I mean? So for me, that's how I feel. You know what I mean? Just having an open ear, being open-minded, seeing where the people are coming from. You know what I mean? Seeing why they're so mad and upset about certain things.
You don't have to be black to understand the injustice that we are facing.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if your face gets red when you hear Black Lives Matter, or when you see, you know, why we are so upset of the injustice, if your face get red because of that, then that's just you're just like bad. Your own personal like thoughts of like you just don't want to understand. You don't want to you know, feel for a race that's not your own.
So it's just seeking education.
Like I said, just being like, seeking education, just being willing to learn, you know, and hearing what people got to say. You know what I mean? So that's what I would have to say about it. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I have a lot of white friends, you know, and a lot of them who I know, they understand that there's, you know, wrong being done within the black community. You know what I mean? They and the people who are close to me, who are not the same color as me, like I said, they understand, but they also have an ear to listen. You know, okay, well, all right, well, why is this happening this way? You know what I mean? What can I do to change this? You know what I mean? So this doesn't keep happening, so to speak. So that's why, I mean, it's just really about just having an open ear and just being able to listen and learn, you know, and understanding why people are so mad, you know?
What's the path forward?
The path forward?
That's
a good question.
As far as within law enforcement, for me, I would say the path forward is, like I said, it starts with the people. If you want, from, you know, the start of this conversation, if you want to see change, I mean, you have to be part of the change, you know? Not saying that it has to be within law enforcement, but it's, you have to, how can I explain this? You can't just talk about it. You know what I mean? It's just sitting on your couch is not going to solve anything. You know what I mean? If you having conversation with somebody, how about you okay, we'll start making efforts to help. You know what I mean? Help people understand. Help the community get involved within, whether it's law enforcement or whatever, or just being involved with being a positive role model for the younger. You know what I mean? That's where it starts to me. You know what I mean? That's the only way we're gonna progress. That's the only way we're gonna go forward, is if people change the way they see things, or people stop being so selfish, I should say. You know, when you stop thinking about it's just me, and you start thinking, you know, about other people, that's when things start changing. You know, but until then, stuff will remain the same. You know, so
it sounds like, you know, that's a call to action for our law enforcement officials.
Yeah.
Do you have any call to action for the Black community?
It boils down to the same thing I said. I mean,
they gotta want to
you gotta change your mindset too, though.
You can't constantly, you know, every day scream, you know, F the police, you know, and, you know, not want to cooperate, not want to have any type of interaction with police, and then scream you want justice. Because to get justice, we have to come together. Right. On both spectrums. The community has to come together within the community, and the police in the community have to come together. To create that change, to be able to move forward. And I would say, like, Youngstown has a pretty good reputation with the community. A lot of people know that, like, you know, Youngstown police officers won't mess with you unless you do something, basically. And when we had that protest, we had the 1 day of protest, the people that were trying to riot and loot and stuff, they weren't even from Youngstown. And some of the, you know, people in the community were upset. You know, they were put on social media, you know, why would y'all do this? You know,
that's
YPD.
Like the curfew thing too.
YPD doesn't mess with us. You know what I mean? So why would you try to do something?
Wow.
Everybody just has to come together, be able to get on one accord. And be able to, you know, walk forward.
And what you said earlier, I mean, people just don't want to be involved with the police for whatever their own reasons are. But that's what I mean as far as, you know, it goes back to the cops. You know, you can't be lazy, man. You got to be active within your community. You know what I mean? That's the only way you're going to build relationships with the people who don't like you, so to speak. Okay, well, let's talk about why you don't like me. You know, let's try to build a rapport. Let's try to get, you know, build this connection going. That's the only way things is going to change. You know, so to me, that's where it starts at, you know, building those connections.
Well, I couldn't thank the both of you enough for your service, your efforts, your example that you're setting. I know that you're much more than Black police officers, right? You're much more than that, right? But as Black police officers, are you optimistic for the future?
As Black, am I optimistic about the future? I'm hopeful.
I feel like it's a step. You know what I mean? I feel like after every situation, departments and officers learn from things. But like I said,
I can only do my part.
That doesn't mean that it won't happen again. You know, it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be another killing, and it's gonna be more protest, and you know what I mean. So it to me, it's just about weeding out the negative cops too. You know what I mean? So you gotta, if you're not learning from the next guy's mistakes, or you know, then it's most likely gonna happen to you. You know what I mean? If you're not taking what's happening now serious, so to speak. But I feel like we are growing. You know what I mean? Especially when you get people in it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? And this is one of the ways, by just having having conversations like we are, just getting people, you know, giving them the knowledge and what we experience, and you know how we feel about different things. You know, so I do feel as if it's going it's kind of going in the right direction, as far as like nowadays, like you see some cops, they're getting rid of, they're firing people who they think, don't deserve to wear the badge. That's a start. That's a start. That's basically telling me that, okay, well, you don't want this to happen. This cat, you could tell that he racist, whatever, and you get rid of him.
Yeah.
So and another thing is, what I was being told was, a lot of people, they get fired from a job, or not necessarily get fired, but they're given the opportunity to resign, or they'll get fired. So what I believe is, I feel as if a department is giving you a reason to basically, so it didn't work out with you, okay, I believe in second chances, so you go somewhere else and work. But after the third, fourth, you shouldn't become a cop.
Yeah.
Maybe this line of work ain't for you.
It's too high of a standard.
You didn't ask to be, to resign 3-4 different times. This ain't for you, because you might be the next one who kill an unarmed black man.
Yep.
So, and that's another thing why what I think they mean by like the reforming of stuff too, because that's, departments do that. And they and with the reforming of the stuff is basically going into their policies and basically, oh, well, why y'all got this in y'all policy, and well, this shouldn't be like that, and you know what I mean. So, I feel as if we're going in the right direction. So.
Well, I can say that if we get more folks like you, no matter what color, no matter what gender, I'm hopeful.
Right.
I just want, again, thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. I know we're wrapping up here. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
Not that I can think of.
No, I think we pretty much got to the gist of it.
Yeah, for now.
Right,
for now, at least.
For now.
And potentially after this ride along, we'll have more to talk about.
Right.
And I'm going to keep you to that.
Yeah. I'm down for it. Like I said, he'll tell you how I am and what I do. I mean,
He didn't do. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to dropping this podcast on behalf of Sergeant Officer Deon Gilbert and Officer Kenny Griffin. Thank you for listening. I'm Lewis Lee, and we're out.